So our first speaker, as I said, came all the way from Dubai. Not that far, just an hour and a half drive. But we're happy to have him with us this afternoon. He is the founder and chief creative officer of Creative Animals. Just the other week, he was busy shooting a music video, so it was difficult to get into a meeting with him. But ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Mr. Ali Muqdad.
Surviving the social media jungle. I'm going to talk a little bit today about social media and how it impacts any brand, whether it be travel tourism, which is definitely what you're here for, or if it's an FMCG and whatnot. But we'll focus, and I'll take a lot of my learnings from Dubai Tourism, which was one of my clients last year, and I'll try to put it into this presentation for you. So as Paul rightfully introduced me, I'm the founder and chief creative director of Creative Animals. We're content creators here. We leverage social media, videos, stills, and social media management to create content that sells. Our ultimate objective is to utilize the different platforms in their specific ways to ultimately generate leads, generate awareness, create brand love, and just all around, so basically just social media, I guess you would say, get more people on social media and get the brands in front of them so that they love you more. This is my son, actually. So he comes on a lot of my shoots, and he's a big fan of what we do. I'm very blessed to do what I do because I love film, I love photos, and I've now found an avenue to take what I love and generate money out of it. And I want to try to teach you as much as I can today on how you can use social media, because social media seems to be a bit of this, it's like an enigma for a lot of people. They seem to look at it and they seem to think, it's like this, it's like really difficult to understand. It's really not so difficult. If you utilize the tools properly, I feel you can not only generate brand awareness for your brands, but you can use it so you can generate leads, you can generate money off of it, and ultimately, whatever the objective is that you need to tick off your box, you're going to use this tool because it's just another tool at the end of the day. Last year, my company was contracted to create social content for Dubai Tourism. It was a 45-day project. We created 30 videos, and we were literally uploading those videos every day onto their YouTube channels, their Instagram channels, as well as their Facebook. I didn't sleep much. I woke up very early every day, took a brief, went off to the site, shot a lot of content. I used a lot of content that other people were shooting. I brought it back to the studio. We cut it up, and we created a video out of it, or we created photos out of it, or we created some kind of content that would drive what was happening that day. We were working on Dubai Shopping Festival at the time, and we were working on Dubai Food Festival. These are two of the biggest festivals in Dubai, and they bring millions of people in from across the GCC region. So you can imagine content was king for Dubai tourism. At the end of the whole experience, I learned a lot. I learned that sometimes you don't have to always create content. There's a lot of content out there that you can just leverage. I also learned that you don't need a big fancy camera to create content. You don't need big fancy equipment to create content. And we're very lucky because everyone here has one of these. And this is probably your most important tool. And this is literally what I was using to create that content on an almost daily basis. At the end of the day, actually, I was starting to pack my camera away, and I was taking a lot of this. And I was reaching out to people that were at events and at the exhibitions and whatever it was. And I was saying, hey, can I borrow that content that you just shot? I just noticed that you shot that over there. Can I just take that from you? And they were happy to give it because they want their 15 minutes of fame. I don't know if a lot of you know who Seth Godin is, but I'm sure most of you do. Content is the only marketing that is left, and I truly believe that. I think we're in an era now where when the TV's on, our eyes are on our mobile phones. And when the radio is on, we're not even paying attention. I truly believe that mobile is going to take over. I truly believe that video and stills is probably the new form of advertising. And I truly believe that we have become the advertisers ourselves. And I've put together 10 rules to survive this social media jungle. So rule number one, define your goals. What do you want to accomplish? If you're in tourism or if you're in travel, you want to utilize social media, and it's pretty intimidating. Why don't you start by writing down what it is that you want to do? Do you want to increase bookings? Do you want to generate leads? Do you want brand love? Figure out, write a clear plan, and don't gamble with your content. A lot of people are gambling with their content. They're just shooting and posting. It's not about that. Number 9, content is king, but consistency is its queen. This is something that I always say in my office, and I always tell my employees, is that we always need to be consistent, and we do that by creating content calendars. It's so easy. Grab an Excel sheet, start creating what you want to do in that week. If it's 2 posts a week, put it down, write it down. Whatever it is, write that down, make a sheet, print it, put it up on your wall, and follow that plan. An average of about 1,500 new leads per month are generated from brands that are consistent. If you do 10 posts a month, I guarantee you your lead generation is going to increase. Try. You never get it right the first time. Even us at Creative Animals, we try a bunch of different things. We don't always do video. We actually start with photos first, static images. Our designer creates static images, he creates animations, he creates GIFs, and we see what works. The thing about brands is every brand is different, and their audience also is different. If it's snackable content, most likely it's going to win. If it's something that's movable, most likely it's going to win. Lately, I've noticed that articles are not as popular as they once used to be, but there is still an audience for that. You got 2 seconds to get that person to engage with your content, so choose it wisely and try some different things. Become a stalker. I love this one, because I'm a big stalker on social media. I know everything and I know what every brand and what my competition is doing all the time, and I think it's really important. If you want to know yourself and you want to know your brand in travel and tourism, see who's doing it the best in your category and try to emulate them or try to take learnings from them. I think this is really important. There's a tool that you can use called spyfu.com, and it's a great tool that generates and allows you to just see what your competitors are doing. I think it's a really good tool. You should definitely have a look at this one. Number 5, don't forget the marketing. This is a big one. A lot of my clients or potential clients, when we first have our first meeting, they just want pretty pictures or they just want a cool video. It's not always about that. Yeah, they generate leads sometimes. They may get you a big following. You may have a cool Instagram page, but good content is efficient content. And it's really important that at the end of the day, you have a call to action. You have a link on your page. You're driving people to do something. I think this is very, very important. Follow the rule of 8 is number 5. This was an interesting one for me because I think last year I was at a Facebook workshop and they said to me, Ali, put all the most important information you want in the first 3 seconds of your video. Otherwise, you're going to lose people. And that was kind of a shock to me coming from a traditional advertising background because I was always told that you had to build the story and then you get to the punchline and then you get to the sell. And I was now told that I had to redo everything all over again. But this is the reality of social media in today's world. You have literally like 5, 6, 7, 8 maximum seconds to get their attention, and then they're off to the next scroll or off to the next post. So follow the rule of 8. Put your most important information in the beginning, and watch your leads or watch your awareness increase. The numbers never lie. I think this is an important one as well because numbers never lie. I mean, most of the social media platforms these days, they have analytics that back them up. So look at your numbers. When I talked about try, see what works and see what doesn't work, and then follow your numbers. Have weekly reports, share them with your team, see what's working for you, and then emulate that and repeat. This is a tricky one. Influencers, are they important? I don't know, to be honest with you. I was debating putting this one in here, to be honest with you. I don't know if they're really that important anymore. I think some of them work. There's a lot of great bloggers out there that can help you. There's a lot of great influencers out there that can help you do your job. But I think you have to be really, really particular on who you partner up with. Because you have to remember that the bloggers and the influencers at the end of the day, they look after their interests first, and then they'll look after yours. So just make sure that you're really clear if you do choose to use an influencer, what their job is for your brand. Two tools that I wanted to highlight here are Social Blade and Epic Beat. I think these are great to highlight what kind of influencers you can partner up with. Unfortunately, with a lot of influencers these days, is they're buying their followers. So we don't really know if they're going to convert into something that's going to basically be better for your brand. I was trying to find an image that best represented travel and tourism, but I think this is the best one I can find for now. Medium is the message. This is an old saying from Marshall McLuhan, and I truly believe that this is still relevant in today's social media atmosphere. Every social media platform has its own pluses and minuses. You can use Twitter to literally have a conversation with your followers, and you can use Snapchat for geolocation, and you can use Instagram to tell a story. I think it's about using that right medium for whatever it is that you're trying to convey. And the most important thing, and this is another really, I think this is Creative Animals' mantra, is done is better than perfect. Don't be intimidated by social media. Don't be intimidated by a camera. Don't be intimidated by a mobile phone. I think it's just about starting and learning along the way. 5, 6 years ago, I didn't know anything about cameras. I didn't know anything about social media, and I knew nothing about marketing. And I just decided that I wanted to immerse myself into this world and learn, and that's what I've done. I think if you start, you're going to force yourself to learn along the way. So as travel and tour operators, create that content and make it awesome later. Start somewhere, but start. That's really important. That's where I am, and that's my 10 rules. And I'll wait for your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ali. So, moving right along, our next speaker is a good friend of Pada's. He just works right downstairs from us. Not only is he the director of FW Nation, but he's also the former global manager, social content and tourism at Australia. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Mr. Jesse Desjardins.
Thank you. There you go. I think social media sucks, to be honest. It sucks your time, it sucks your energy, and it sucks your sanity, to be honest. And what I've noticed is a lot of people treat social media like it's a slot machine. You know, what happens when you put $1 in the slot machine? You pull the lever and you're like, come on, lucky 7. Sometimes you win, sometimes you don't. Most of the time, the house always wins, though. I'm much more interested in building vending machines. You put $1 in a vending machine and you know exactly what's going to come back. And that's what I want to talk about. So I spent nearly 7 years building up Tourism Australia's social profiles. And people were always blown away by the results that we got. Breakthrough results, actually. We outperformed every single other destination on social. And people were surprised that we had such a small team. But the secret to our success is that we had an incredible system behind the scenes. A system that would produce results with predictability every single time. A vending machine, not a slot machine. See, the challenge with social nowadays is that you would have seen your organic reach go down quite dramatically, and even more so with the latest Facebook changes. Basically, the gist of it is, Facebook has said, is we're going to show content from your friends and family, and we're going to show advertising. I actually think this is freaking brilliant for us. This is so good. This is such an opportunity. Because when you have an amazing experience, naturally your guests will share it with their friends and family. And when you create a vending machine in terms of ads, it doesn't matter if you're spending $1, as long as you're getting $10 back in return. So what I want to talk about is creating that system in your business where you can beautifully narrate at every single point of the guest experience exactly what happens. Kind of like a factory, kind of like making these ice cream sandwiches. Every step of the process gets you those breakthrough results. What I want to share with you is a program we've put together called the Guest Experience Map, aka the GEM. And I believe that everybody should have a GEM. This is what's going to help you create those breakthrough results. And every business can basically be divided into kind of 3 main areas. What happens before, what happens during, and what happens after in the guest experience. And this is like my absolute favorite thing to do. So I spend a big part of my day brainstorming and creating breakthroughs with operators in tourism. And what I want to do is give you like a small sample of what some of my favorite breakthroughs are in the GEM, in the guest experience. So let's look at the before unit. So the before unit is everything that happens right up until the point that someone makes a booking. So the easiest way to think about the before unit is like Expedia or TripAdvisor or Hotels.com, anything like that. I think we're very fortunate in travel because there's not a lot of other industries that have something as simple to understand as a before unit. Basically, people who are sending you bookings. So the first element of a beautiful gem is to dominate one specific target market at a time. It's my absolute favorite question to ask operators. Who's your target market? And you know what the most common answer I get? Something along the lines of like, well, anybody with a credit card. You know how difficult it is putting a marketing plan together with anybody with a credit card? And it's fascinating when you add that word dominate to the top of it, right? Like, what are you absolutely going to be the best at in the world? This is Exuma in the Bahamas. And one of the things that's quite famous in that region is that you can swim with these wild feral pigs. And you can imagine this is incredibly popular, especially with millennials. You would have probably seen videos like this on social. When I did a little bit of research, there's about 14 or 15 different tour operators who take people out to go see the swimming pigs. But what I love is that there's one operator who had the foresight to go out and register at the swimming pigs on Instagram. And they declared themselves the mayor of the swimming pigs on Instagram. Genius, right? Because their target market that they're trying to dominate is obviously millennials. And we're millennials, they're on Instagram. So they have 325,000 followers on there. And they lead the conversation in terms of conservation, in terms of the experience, in terms of how to take beautiful photography. They are the mayor. So what can you be the mayor of? That's what's brilliant, especially in the adventurous space. There's so many different niches that you can be the mayor of. You can be the mayor of your purpose. You can be the mayor of what you believe in. It's funny, there's a small tour operator from India that came to our workshop at Pata just before the holidays. And they were talking about how, well, no one knows Northeast India. And there's not a lot of promotional material about the destination. It's like, great, well, why don't you be the mayor of Northeast India? And they did. They went back to their hotel room that night and they started creating content around it. And it was amazing, the results that happened. It's like you can take a leadership position and you can declare yourself the mayor of pretty much anything you want. This is Imogen. She's a baby Joey koala that was born at Symbio Wildlife Park, about 45 minutes outside of Sydney. And this video was sent to us by Symbio, and I featured it on our Facebook page. And it got about 95 million views the first time we posted it, about 8 million likes, and just 1.8 million comments. And it was picked up by media all around the world. It's featured on CNN and Fox, all those kinds of platforms. And it's had a transformational effect, these little videos, on Symbio's business. In the past 18 months, they've been able to increase their visitation by 138%, just off the back of these little videos that were featured on Tourism Australia's Facebook page and media all around the world. They are the mayor of cute koalas in Australia. And what's fascinating, what's brilliant, is that Kevin, their one-person marketing team, has figured out a way to take all this beautiful content that he creates that's shot with like literally a $1,200 camera and package it up in a way that he gives a story for everyone else to tell. That's what's brilliant today about social media. I think a lot of people are very focused on their own platforms, but in travel, we know that the customer gets their information from multiple sources. So don't just tell a story, give a story to tell. Giving a story to tell in this landscape is as important as giving a good story. How are you repackaging up your story in a way that other people can pick it up? When I was doing research on all of you in this room before coming here, I came across Mongolia Community Tourism. And I couldn't find a lot of social content, but I bet you they have video on there somewhere. And you know what's brilliant about today? Is you can take that raw video and you can give it to platforms like Unilad Adventures, for example, who have a team in Manchester and London of video producers. All they're doing, they're looking online every single day and looking for a raw video, and they repackage it up in a way for their platforms. One video on a platform like this can have a transformational effect on your business, the same way that Symbio has. Again, how are you telling a story? How are you giving a story to tell? That third-party validation, where you can dominate that conversation, is so important. As seen on, those places where that target market you want to dominate, how do you get your stories on there? Now, the before unit's all about building your vending machine, right? And like a lot of people complain that the fact that it's like, oh, your organic reach has gone down, all that kind of stuff. Again, it doesn't matter if you're spending $1, as long as you're making $10 back. It's just a matter of like how many dollars you're going to spend. There's one trick. I mean, we can literally spend all day talking about Facebook advertising, but the next time you're in your Facebook newsfeed, click on an ad and click the 3 little dots in the top right corner, and then hit, why am I seeing this advert? And Facebook will tell you why you're being targeted. It will absolutely blow your mind. It'll tell you you're being targeted because you've visited these sites, because you're friends with these people, you have these interests. It's fascinating. That's building a vending machine, when you can figure out what the right formula is so you can reach those right people. Okay, let's move to the during unit. The during unit starts from the moment the booking comes in. And this is my favorite part of the guest experience, because this is like the 5-foot putts. You know, if you want to improve your golf game, most people go out and they buy a new driver or they try to hit the ball further. But statistically, if you want to improve your golf game, improve your 5-foot putts, because the ball's already on the green. That's where most people miss the shot. And the equivalent for that in marketing is, we need a new advertising campaign, we need a new logo, we need a new social campaign. But that is many steps removed from the guests that are currently with you. You know, one of my heroes in hospitality is a gentleman called Gamal Aziz. And Gamal was the general manager of the MGM Grand in Las Vegas. And Gamal would stand in the front of the property every single night, and he would see his guests getting in the taxis, and he'd ask him, where are you guys going out for dinner? And the guests would say, oh, we're going to Nobu or Spago. A lot of these celebrity restaurants are opening up in Vegas. And they had a restaurant, a flagship restaurant, that was making about $2 million a year. And in his mind, he knew that if they had one of those celebrity restaurants in the MGM, they could be making $5 million a year. So in his mind, they were losing $3 million a year. So he convinced the board to basically rip out the restaurant. And they worked with Nob Hill and got Michael Mina, I think is the chef, to come in. And the first year, they made $6.5 million. They used that same strategy again to rip out their show FX, which was one of the most successful shows on the Strip, making about $15 million in ticket sales a year. And they partnered up with Cirque du Soleil and made $90 million. And if you go up and down the Strip today in Vegas and you see all those Cirque du Soleil shows and all the celebrity restaurants and resorts, you can thank Gamal Aziz for that. So there's basically kind of 5 key areas in your during unit, everything from pre-arrival to the point that the guest leaves. And every single one of those steps can be like, it can be okay, or it can be absolutely remarkable. You know, recently, I stayed at an amazing property called the Heritage Suites Hotel in Cambodia. And I stayed there because their irresistible offer was the fact that they picked me up in a vintage Mercedes, 1963, I believe it was. It was completely beat up, but nonetheless, it was such an amazing way to enter the property. You got so much attention, actually, from the way to the airport to the hotel. But what a way to start the experience. And you know what? I shared that on social media, of course. But it was brilliant, because this was almost a preview of all the extras you can have while you're at the property. You can also rent those cars if you want to. I realized they also had their own adventure company in-house, specializing in creating those customized tours just for the guests that are there. I ended up spending about $125 US a night to stay there, but I ended up spending $200 a day on the customized tours. And that completely blew my mind. If you've been to Siem Reap, you know it's one of those very overly populated tourism spots. But to have a customized tour that would bring me exactly where I wanted to go so I can see the temples at sunrise with no one else around me was worth 10 times the price of that. And again, I went back that afternoon and booked another tour because I was so impressed. I loved it so much. How do you end on a high also, too? I mean, most of the times when I travel, and probably the same for you, too, what happens when you check out? You get your bill. See ya, bye. You know, there's an opportunity to end on a really big high. The Heritage, what they did is they made me like a little farewell gift that had a water bottle and some cookies and a nice handwritten notes that I can read on the way to the airport. What an amazing way to finish the experience. And again, it could be, it can be, or it could be absolutely amazing. And Heritage nailed it at every touch point. Again, ask yourself, how high is high? It doesn't matter if you're spending 15% of your commission on your before unit. Look at the Heritage, how much more money they make in the during unit. Ask yourself, how high is it, not just in the experience you create, but profitability and sustainability. The after unit. The after unit is everything that happens once the guest has left. And this is where social plays such an important role. And where a lot of people make a mistake with social is that they think that the guests are doing them a favor by recommending them. You know, oh, like us on Facebook or write us a good review. The guest doesn't care. It's all about making the guest look good. When you can make the guests look good, when you can help them tell a better story about themselves, you win. I work quite a lot across Asia, and every time I go for dinner, do you know who eats first? The camera, all the time. Everybody always has to take a picture of every single meal that they have. And smart chefs nowadays are designing their plates in a way, again, that will make the guests look good. There's amazing tools out there. Friends of ours, CrowdRiff, where they specialize in a tool about taking that great user-generated content that's created in the during and the after unit. I mean, you know what's brilliant about that? You can bring that right back into the before unit to convert even more people. So I'd encourage you to go speak to them while you're here. Again, don't create a slot machine. Create a vending machine. That's much more smarter. So I've just gone through the gem incredibly quickly. This is normally something that takes a full day to kind of walk through, but you can download the actual book. It's called Getting Bookings, and you can download the gem. This is my absolute favorite thing to do, so if you see me in the next couple of days, come jam with me. We'll brainstorm some ideas for your business also, too. So you can download it for free. It's at thegem.com. And I want to leave you with one final story, and it's a Star Wars analogy. And if you've ever watched Star Wars, the whole franchise is really about Luke Skywalker, his journey, and where he goes and the villains that he comes across. But in Star Wars, Yoda is the wise one. He kind of knows in a way where Luke has to go, and he kind of guides him in the right direction, doesn't he? Well, the secret to social and the secret to having a great experience and having your guests share that experience is to make each and every single guest Luke Skywalker. Make them the hero of your story. When you make them the Luke Skywalkers, they pick you up and they pick up your message and they take it places you can never go on your own. Thank you.